What is up everyone, and welcome to some more F1 23 My Team Career Mode. Last time out we were at the Miami Grand Prix, and despite the fact that at one point we were running in the high highs of P4, we could not hold on to a points finish. Our car still simply just does not have the pace. We have a few more races to go before our next upgrades are coming onto the car, but I'm hoping that at a track that's maybe a little bit more technical and a bit more sort of driver dependent, there is a chance that I might be able to sneak my way into a top spot here in Imola, as we have an event here which is going to drastically decrease the price of that brake upgrade. Thanks. So we're absolutely going to go for that one, and that's going to make it so it's actually not that much more expensive. We might be able to set that one to get on the car before the Canadian Grand Prix as well. That would be quite exciting if we could have 3 upgrades coming in time for the Canadian Grand Prix. I think that would put us in a really strong position to hopefully have a really solid race. But yeah, we'll see whether we can afford that or not. We did get some extra resource points for a mechanical failure that happened last race, but our car didn't break down, so I'm not quite sure what that's about, unless they meant Dennis Hauger's mechanical failure, which is entirely possible, I guess. So yeah, I just go through, I'm checking here how much everything costs, and yeah, this one, the brake pad material, it's not an ultimate upgrade or anything like that. I think it's just a minor upgrade, but yeah, nonetheless, it will provide us a little bit of performance, hopefully make us a little bit faster in time for the Canadian Grand Prix. So yeah, I'm looking forward to having that one on the car. We also have a couple more ultimate upgrades coming onto the car in time for that as well. We still need another $3 million in our account before we can go for this final, well, I say final, but this engine facility upgrade. It's the final on the resource point generation pathway, but obviously there's still a number of upgrades to be dished out within that particular facility. But yeah, in any case, we are now ready to get into the race weekend, and I think we need to change the gearbox before we actually set out this weekend, because it is pretty worn out at this point. I think it's like 70% worn or something like that. The weather is going to be dry for the whole weekend. We're still in a bit of a development no man's land between Alpine and Haas now, as they've developed a bit further since the Miami Grand Prix. But yeah, we're still quite comfortably ahead of all these people. And yeah, as you can see, 71% wear was on the gearbox. Just checking, going through, making sure nothing else is too worn out, but everything was fine. Nothing we have to worry about. I reckon everything else will last for at least another race or two, I would imagine, especially with the lack of sprints. That's serving us quite well as well. And yeah, it's time for us to get into practice for the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix. Now, yeah, this is not a track that I typically do too well at, so I was kind of just hoping that I would be able to perform at the usual level that we've been sort of accustomed to recently. You know, if we can get sort of P13, I think I'll be happy about that. But we'll see what's possible. Practice, Hauger was actually faster than I was, which I was thinking to myself, okay, if that happens, I'm not even gonna be mad. You know, I'm gonna let it happen, because Lord knows I need this guy to start performing soon. He's qualified 21st 4 out of these 5 races at the start of the season, and in the other one he qualified 17th, which isn't terrible, but all of these 21st qualifyings I definitely think should have been a little bit better, given that we are the 7th fastest car on the grid. You know, he's got to make a few Q2 appearances this season, and once we start upgrading the car, I want him scoring points and that kind of thing. So hopefully that practice session is a good reflection of what his pace is going to be like over the course of qualifying, but I guess we'll find out now that we're getting into it. Yeah, I think the target here has to simply just be sort of in the upper sort of field of Q2. So we get through to Q2, and if we can get sort of around 11th, 12th, 13th, I'll be pretty happy with that. Any lower than that, and I'll be pretty upset. But yeah, we're gonna see what's possible. On a first flying lap on a fresh set of soft compound tires, we did a 1:14.1. I think we managed to just about get away with that, even though I didn't think it was a particularly good lap. We didn't end up improving on it on our second flying lap. We did a 1:14.2, but nonetheless we did get through to Q2 in P13. So that was pretty much exactly where I was hoping we would be. So I'm pretty confident that we've definitely got the pace to qualify at least 13th no matter what happens. But let's see, did Dennis Hauger make it through to Q2? Let's find out now. He's got to be the 15th or 16th. It's not happened. Where is he? He's 22nd. Oh man, he's very, very close there to Nick De Vries, but he's on the wrong side, unfortunately. And yeah, he joins De Vries along with Sonoda Lawson and both of the Hasses of Hulkenberg and Sargent in the drop zone, starting at the back of the field. That is not what I wanted to see from Dennis Hauger, especially after his practice performance. This guy really needs to get his act together. I feel bad though, because I don't want to kick him out the team, because I feel like the car doesn't really have any performance in it anyway, so there's no real tangible benefit to kicking him out the team. In any case, on a fresh set of soft compound tyres, no, this was a used set actually, we do a 1:13.9, which is our fastest lap of the weekend so far, but let's see if we can improve on it even further. If we want any chance of making it through to Q3, we're going to have to improve on it. And you can see as we exit the chicane there, we are almost 7/10 up on our time, which I think would just about be fast enough to beat Esteban Ocon here. So yeah, we'll see. I'm not quite sure where we're going to be here. Whether it will be good enough to get into the top 10, I don't know. But it's going to be at least good enough for 11th. And as we come up to the line, it is a 1:13.2. Have we made it through to Q3? We have! It's P8. Wow. What an absolutely remarkable result that is. I'm very, very happy about that. With the pace that our car has been showing lately and the lack of Q3 appearances since Saudi Arabia, I am extremely happy with that. We beat Ocon, Leclerc and Sainz, so both of the Ferraris, and also one of the McLarens of Oscar Piastri, so that's really solid. You know, obviously I don't know whether that will ring true for the race or not, but yeah, ahead of Leclerc, Ocon and Verstappen, as well as Fittipaldi, Albon and Zhou in the sort of lower tier cars. But yeah, we've really punched above our weight here. I think regardless of what happens in Q3 now, we can be pretty pleased with that. So we'll see what we can do, whether we can get anywhere other than 10th. I hope so, but it remains to be seen. We do our first flying lap on a used set of soft compound tyres, and it's only good enough for a 1:14.0. So I think we're definitely going to have to improve on that quite significantly, probably by like a second or so if we want to get off the back of the top 10. You know, if we want to be any higher than about 10th or 9th, we're going to have to find some significant improvement. Unfortunately, I managed to do just that. We've improved by like a second here. I do get a little bit wobbly out of the final corner, but still, it's over a second worth of improvement. It's a 1:13 flat, very nearly a 1:12, and that is good enough for P9. Okay, not amazing, but maybe, just maybe, we'll have a chance of scoring some points here.
And with qualifying complete, let's review our top 3 today. Perez, Oscar Piastri, and George Russell. Goodbye for now then, but we are really just getting started. Make sure you join us again for Lights Out tomorrow.
Yeah, I think that is a pretty solid qualifying from us. You know, if we can get one of our trademark good starts, then maybe we can sort of be challenging in the sort of middle of the top 10, maybe around P5, P6, something like that. And maybe we'll be able to defend it. You know, it's not an easy track to overtake at. There is one very, very easy DRS zone to pass people in. But if I can stick to the DRS of someone in front of me, then maybe there exists a chance of me being able to hold position. We will see what happens. I am optimistic though. I think this might be our best chance to score points yet, to be honest. You know, this is the first time we've qualified in the top 10 since Saudi Arabia, which obviously that race didn't go according to plan either. But yeah, this is probably, I would say, the most optimistic I've been about scoring points since that Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. So I'm hoping that we can have a good session here and yeah, grab some solid points perhaps, but we will see what happens as we get into the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix.
Imola, or to give it its full title, the International Autodrome of Enzo and Dino Ferrari. Enzo, one of the most evocative team creators in history. This place is named for their legacy, and it's a beautiful tribute. 3.1 miles of track at Imola, featuring 19 turns, 9 to the right and 10 to the left. Remember that Imola differs from most other Formula One tracks as it's driven anti-clockwise. Let's hope nobody forgets that today. The exit from turn 18 will probably be the setup for many of today's overtakes, leading as it does into the longest straight on the circuit and its only DRS zone. It's time to take a look at our starting grid for today's race. Oscar Piastri lines up on pole position, and it's Lance Stroll in P2. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Bottas, Perez, Sainz, Gasly, Robinson, Magnussen, Leclerc, Norris, Ocon, Verstappen, Russell, Fittipaldi, Albon, Joe, Sargent, Hulkenberg, Liam Lawson, Sonoda, De Vries and Dennis Hauger. It's almost time for those 5 red lights to go out then. Let's see who can prevail today. Joining me for the Grand Prix once again is Anthony Davidson. Why don't we kick off by discussing Max Verstappen? And we welcome to the commentary box Anthony Davidson. There's a new gearbox in that car, and they suffered a grid penalty as a result. You must have been in this spot before.
But on the bright side, at least those fresh components can help them maintain the power they need to come through the pack. I expect to see them take a more aggressive approach today to make up for the compromised start.
Okay, here we go. I know what you can do. Don't let me down.
Well, a few grid penalties up and down the field means that we have actually gained a couple of places. It is George Russell who is one of the drivers who's obtained a grid penalty here, meaning that he is going to be starting, I believe, P13 it was. So let's see if he can win from P13 on the grid. That really would be amazing. He's won all 5 races so far this season. But yeah, it means that we are starting in the lofty heights of P7, and I definitely think we have a chance to break into at least the top 5 now off the start here. And that could give us a really, really strong opportunity to score some points here. As, yeah, it's actually Piastri and Stroll starting on the front row. That's not a front row I imagine many people would have expected to see at the start of the real-life Formula 1 season. But that's who we've got. So we will see how many positions we can make up as the lights come on. And the lights go out, and we've gotten away well compared to Sainz and Perez there, and Bottas too, and I believe it was Gasly who was blocked as well, so that was 4 positions gained basically instantaneously there, and now we're going to try and go around the outside of Lance Stroll at the first chicane as well, and we have done exactly that, and we are up into P2. What a brilliant start that was. That was exactly what I was hoping for. And now we just have to defend like hell from the cars behind us. They are going to be putting a lot of pressure on me for the next 32 laps, you would have to imagine. But I think we have a really solid opportunity to score some points here if we can defend these positions. Lance Stroll already trying to make a move on me up the inside at that corner. We all know that that one doesn't go very well. So I'm not really sure what he was thinking, but yes, he's putting a lot of early pressure on me as we exit Agua Minerale. We get a little bit of respite. This is about the one corner on the track I think I am actually fast through compared to most of the cars. We get a bit squirrely out of the chicane, and we actually get a warning for exceeding track limits there. So yeah, we need to be careful because we don't want to get a penalty over the course of the race. But yeah, as we enter the Ravazzas, we are still in P2, and we have managed to maintain a whole lap in P2. This is quite remarkable. We do get another track limits warning though, and now we really need to be careful because we've got 31 laps where we can't exceed track limits a single time. Otherwise, that is going to be a penalty for us. So yeah, we eventually do lose out to Lance Stroll there. He just seems to have the straight line speed on lock compared to us. Not much we could do. And yeah, that is going to be me falling down the order into well, I was going to say P3, but Bottas was trying to crash into me there or something. It seemed like I'm not really sure what he was thinking with that move. We managed to keep him behind because he kind of just runs himself out of track in the end. But yeah, interesting attempt at a move coming out from Bottas there. He eventually does get past me cleanly, and our podium dreams were very short-lived in this race. You know, the DRS hasn't even been enabled yet, and already we're coming under significant pressure from cars with overpowered straight-line speed compared to us. Sainz was looking for a move there as well, but he couldn't quite pull it off. And, well, we'll see if we can pull it off now. It's Perez and Sainz piling the pressure on here. Perez going up the inside into the chicane. Is he going to be able to hold on to the position? No, he isn't. And we retain this P4 for the time being. But he's going to have another bite of the cherry now into this next chicane. And, yeah, by the time we get there, he's already made the move. Sainz trying to go around the outside as well. Can't quite find it. And that is us down into P5 with lots of pressure being piled on from behind. And a couple laps later, it's actually Kevin Magnussen who's gotten ahead of Carlos Sainz, and he is going to now be putting the pressure on me to try and get through instead. He moves to the inside, but we covered him off there. It was a little bit cheeky from me, but he's now going to move to the inside. And yeah, by the time we get to the corner, he's already a full car length ahead. That is me down into P6, and now the pressure is coming out from Carlos Sainz here. He's going to try and go up the inside into the following chicane, and he just has such a smoother run through there. I don't know how he does it, but yeah, that is him into P6 and us pushed down into P7. So we're back where we started after only 7 laps. That's not great. We're losing positions at the rate of almost 1 per lap, which well, you would hope that I wouldn't end up this race in P32, given that there's only 22 cars on the grid. But also I think 13th would probably be the lowest I could possibly fall, just based on the pace of the cars around us. Leclerc and Gasly got ahead of us there, so yeah, that is us falling down into P9 now, and Lando Norris is also piling on the pressure for good measure, and yeah, he gets a bit of a snap there actually, but he does eventually make his way through into P9. Now Ocon is trying to go for the move as well. I eventually managed to fight him off though, and for the time being we are going to retain P10. But it's George Russell, the championship leader, the two-time world champion, and the man who's won every race so far this season. He makes his way through with relative ease, and I think Verstappen is going to try and follow him through here. And, well, our car just still does not have the pace to contend. I think it might be an engine issue, to be honest with you. Not like we have an engine issue, but I mean like our engine is just bad. That's kind of what I mean. I think we're slow because they've got faster engines and maybe slightly better drag reduction and that kind of thing. So hopefully once we upgrade those components, we should be able to contend with these cars around us a little bit more. But for the time being, yeah, it's just a bit of a non-contest as Ocon made his way through. However, his soft compound tyres did start to go off shortly after that, which means that I am going to try and go for a move on him as we move into lap 14. We get onto the curb a little bit there. With the DRS, we do just about have enough straight line speed to think about going for the move. We pinch him to the inside of the corner, and that allows us to make our one and only overtake that isn't on lap 1, and we're back up into P12. But the end of lap 14, Ocon does come into the pits to take those soft compound tyres off. I think he's going to be going on mediums to the end, and no doubt he will be pulling off a significant undercut on me, you would have to imagine, even if I box this lap, which, to be honest with you, I think I probably will do. I still don't see a world in which me and Ocon are going to be racing at any other point during this race now. So, yeah, it was fun while it lasted, but that's going to be it for this race. Now, I think I just have to focus on making sure that I don't get overtaken by the slower cars of Albon and Fittipaldi behind me. Those are about the only ones that are really particularly close. We call in to come into the box this time. I think what I'm going to try and do is I'm going to try and go for a bit of a, I was going to say undercut. I just basically wanted to extend the gap to Albon, and I figured this was probably the best way to do it. If he was boxing on lap 16, of course, that would work out. But Fittipaldi and Hülkenberg here are actually boxing this lap. So, yeah, those are two guys who I'm going to have to try and just outpace, I think. Hülkenberg was quite far down anyway, and I'm hoping that without Albon between us, Fittipaldi won't be able to gain on me so easily, because he will be, you know, lacking in that DRS to give him that extra boost in straight line speed and then slipstreams and stuff like that. So yeah, we should hopefully be comfortable here in this net P13 that we find ourselves in. But we will see how things work out. You can see Ocon was definitely very far ahead by the time we came out of the pits. He gained about 3 seconds on me over the course of a lap. But now Tsunoda, Sargent and Albon are all coming in. This moves me back up into P14. Albon is actually behind Fittipaldi as well when he comes out of the pits, so nothing I have to worry about really. The only driver in front who was behind me before, yet to pit, is Hauger. And by the time that we get onto the end of lap 23 and the start of lap 24, of course he has pitted by this point. And, well, it's just that trend that every race seems to be trending towards for me at the moment, where we have a pretty eventful first stint where we're kind of battling with people, racing with them, getting overtaken a little bit, and just generally being a bit sort of racy with everyone. And then in the second stint, I just end up in a no man's land and just have to try and bring it home. Eventually, I'm sure I will have exciting second stints in these races, but they haven't been happening so far. One thing that is going to be very helpful for me in my rivalry is this. Esteban Ocon is out of the race. His car's broken down. Puff of smoke coming out the back there. You might have just caught it. And yeah, that promotes me up into P12. So we're probably not going to score points here unless two more people in front sort of come together or something like that. Even then, they're so far ahead that I honestly think they could still beat me. But yeah, that is not what happened, unfortunately. As we move on to the final lap of the race, it's just going to be mission bring it home for P12. We're getting super close to the points every single time. We are comfortably, you know, sort of best in class at the moment. The problem is that there's 12 drivers who can consistently finish faster than us, and we kind of have to just rely on them to retire from the race in order to contend at the moment. So, I mean, this is good, right? I would say it's realistic. The pace of our car, according to the Performance Index, is actually the pace of our car when it comes to race day. which, is a bit of a rarity sometimes. So I can't be too upset about it. We just need to keep developing the car. We've got a lot of upgrades coming on for the Canadian Grand Prix, so I'm hoping that will go well. But as we round the final corner, it is only going to be P12. The points were just not on the board for us today, unfortunately. I just didn't have the pace.
Right,
even when
over.
at one point I was in
P2,
we just couldn't seem to make it work. So that's fine. And yeah, next up is Monaco, and maybe if we can get another strong qualifying, maybe there's a chance for us to get some points there.
And that's it then for the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix, and what a sensational victory they've managed to pull off here. Tell me, Ant, how do you think they were able to deliver such an incredible result today?
I really feel the track layout combined with the track temperatures we saw today suited their car. These cars come alive when the tyres are just at the right temperature, and the driver did a great job managing that as well. They just look so comfortable out there. It's like anything, it always looks so easy when it all just clicks.
Our drivers are making their way out for the podium celebrations, and it's going to be McLaren picking up the winner's trophy. Congratulations to the entire team for that fantastic performance.
Well, it is Oscar P1 Astri who takes the top step of the podium on this occasion. I think it might be his first win in Formula 1. I could be wrong about that. I know that Lando's definitely had a few victories in this season, or not this season, but this series. But I don't think Piastri has. I know he's had podiums, but I don't think he had any wins. And he's actually joined by Stroll, who I think gets a career best finish of P2, and then Perez completing the podium there. So yeah, pretty solid drive from all of those guys.
Our championship leader is still sat at the top of the standings, but their rivals have made up some solid ground today. So then, it's time to see how this result affects the Drivers' Championship. So let's discuss, Ant. Who would you say is a contender for your driver of the day?
Oscar Piastri gets my vote today.
Let's move on to the constructors. It was a tough race for our championship leaders, who lose ground at the top of the table.
Meanwhile, good work from Aston Martin this weekend, who pushed themselves further up the order.
Well, what an end to another fantastic weekend of racing. Thanks to everyone who's joined us, and we'll see you for the next one.
Well, it was a very, very difficult weekend for Mercedes, actually, with George Russell's grid penalty, and I think Valtteri Bottas actually had an issue towards the end of that race as well. It meant that they ended up scoring 2 points because Bottas finished 11th and Russell only managed to recover from 13th to 9th. So he is mortal, as it turns out. After winning 5 races in a row, that win streak finally comes to an end. And yeah, it is Piastri who breaks the cycle there. So a really strong performance from him. And yeah, we just need to continue developing the car, continue trying to find a bit more pace, just waiting patiently for these upgrades to come on. And when they do, we hopefully will be able to contend at least with Alpine, but hopefully, all of these upper teams. I think we should be at least back into the points, if not back on the podium by sort of the halfway mark of the season. Maybe back on the podium is a bit unrealistic, but certainly back in the points by the halfway point of the season. By the time we get to the contract negotiations and that kind of thing, I think we definitely should be in a position to score some points on a regular basis. And who knows, maybe even Hauger will start to get his act together. My current facility upgrade planning is we're going to try and get Spec 3 engine, Spec 3 durability, and then I'm going to basically just try and put everything into marketing and personnel until we get everything just completely capped out in that. And then once we've done that, then we are going to try and invest in the rest of the Spec 3 upgrades for the sort of component departments. But I mean, that's very longitudinal. I don't think I did 7 seasons in my Team career mode last year, and I still didn't max out everything. I am hoping to do a full 10 seasons this year, but I think I'm going to have to get a move on if we are going to do that, because whilst it's only September, we're currently progressing at the rate of about a season a month, I would say, maybe a little bit slower than that. So yeah, that's about the pace that we should be showing, but we need to keep this up. And not everything is guaranteed. Things can happen at any moment, so I want to make sure that I've got a little bit of leeway if I do need to take days off for legitimate reasons, then yeah, we should be able to. But we've been on a pretty good streak recently. You know, I think this is 4 days in a row that we've had videos coming out. This is the longest streak I've had in a while, I think. But yeah, I'm hoping that we're getting back into this sort of routine and rhythm now. Unfortunately, I think even with that DNF, Esteban Ocon will not be catchable. So I will be dropping the difficulty, which you know, might actually be a bit of a help to me. Who knows? But yeah, I'm actually a little bit optimistic about Monaco. If I can find the pace around there to deliver a strong lap, especially with our strong chassis, which is probably arguably our car's best sort of feature now, there actually really is a chance that we could score some points there for only the second time this season. It's not guaranteed, but I'm hopeful that we might be able to do it. But in any case, that is going to be it for this video. So if you enjoyed, please make sure you like and subscribe, and hopefully I will see you in the next one.